Guys, I've been to the mountaintop, and I got something to say, all right? I'm unveiling the new long-term profit goal. Are you guys ready for this? Drum roll, please. This is going to blow your mind, okay? This is what we're going to do. This is good.
$30 million? There's only 2 of us.
We made $63,000 in gross sales last year. That's everything.
Okay, look, I'm a visionary. Okay, what you're witnessing right here, this is leadership. I'm looking at where we're going to be 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Did Henry Fonda, when he invented the Model T, were they sitting around going, how are we going to build this car? No. Okay, they got their hands dirty, they grabbed the bull by the horns, and then they killed it.
Okay, so what's the plan?
Step 1, okay? We're going to maximize efficiency. Number 2, write this down. Number 2, Step 3, emulsification. Listen, if you guys follow those steps, we're going to hit our goal by the winter of 2032. Okay, what an incredible Christmas that'll be. All right, so you guys know what you're doing?
No.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to hit the links. Ooh, Daddy likes.
You have questions? America's #1 business coach has answers. It's your Broda from Minnesota. Here's another edition of Ask Clay Anything on the Thrive Time Business Coach Radio Show.
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, we had a question that came in from a listener, and they're wanting to know how can they make their meetings not feel like beatings. You know, like we've all been to a meeting, a staff meeting, where you're in the meeting, and you're a good guy, and you want to be a good employee, and you want to do a good job, or you want to be a good manager, or whatever. We've all been in a meeting where the meeting is terrible.
I've led those meetings.
And I think we all have. And we say, people, it's like you want the meeting to be over, but it's not over, and it keeps going and going.
That's really terrible when it's your meeting and you just want it to be over.
Right. And then what happens is you say, all right, everybody, let's go get them. And Jason, you've seen this. You've seen this. We've all seen this. We've all had a meeting we've been to where the meeting itself is an absolute meeting from hell. Have we all not seen a meeting like this? We all have.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So the question from the listener was, hey, this was the message we received. It says, do you know of any good books about taking charge of a room or giving an informal presentation? I have an employee who needs to learn how to do it better, and I'm not sure how to teach that. I just do it. So I'm going to walk you through the steps, and then I'm going to make it actionable. And Clint, you've got some notes. I want to break it down. Step 1, you start off every meeting with rapport or wins. Just rapport. So you say, all right, everybody, welcome to the meeting. You got to have good energy as a leader. Welcome to the meeting. What great things happened this week? And if the people on your team say, well, we lost a bunch of customers, you go, well, hey, no, I got to win. We're not dead, right? Right? What else is a win? And you got to express an attitude of gratitude. It has to start off with some positivity. Then the needs. You say, what do we need to talk about in today's meeting? In today's meeting, we're going to be here for like an hour, and we need to make sure we get through all these things, which would require you to have a printed agenda. Or if it's a sales presentation, a one sheet. There's got to be some idea of how long the meeting is going to take and what we're covering in that meeting. Then the benefits. When you ask your employees to do something, yeah, you're the boss, but you've got to make them want to do it.
Right.
You've got to convince them that they want to do it, they should do it, they need to do it. You got to provide them benefits and facts and examples that, hey, I really do want to do this. And so I would encourage you to provide facts, statistics, quotes.
Well, we call this gamifying. So you let them know what the goal is and how they can reach the goal, so what the scoreboard is, and then how they can win, and then maybe what they can win.
And then what you do is you give them a call to action. You say, now as a result of this, we got to go do this. We're going to do this. The meeting should be action-focused. And then you're going to go, does anyone have any questions before we wrap up the meeting? Does anybody have any questions about what to do or how to do it? Because there are no bad students, just bad teachers. So do we have any questions? And then they will go, I don't really understand how to upload the content. Or, yeah, what list am I supposed to call? Or what did you want me to do again now? Or there's a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. And then you review what to do again. You repeat the calls to action, and you clarify who's going to do it, who is going to do it, when is it going to get done, and what happens if they don't get it done. Because if not, you'll have a meeting next week, and nothing got done, And then you'll start to say, well, what's the point of even having a meeting? And then you'll cancel your meetings. And this only happens the most often if your spouse is your partner. Because your spouse or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your longtime roommate from college, someone you know, what they're going to do is they are not going to value the meetings because you're too familiar right now. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to tell you, if a lot of husband and wives listening to this, be very, very careful that if the spouse doesn't show up, tell them privately, hey, I really need you to be there for me here. That's important. And then have that conversation privately. Because if you have that conversation in front of your team, there's always a tension in the room anyway, just because there's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And then someone in the meeting will go, oh, snap. So your wife will say, hey, Clay, I wish you would be on time for the meeting. Your wife will say, I wish you were on time, Clay, for the meeting. Or Carl, I wish you were on time for the meeting. It's very important you're there. And you'll go, I'm sorry, babe. I just was running behind. And then someone will go, oh, snap. He's late 5 times in a row. How come he can't be fired? Or they'll say, how come he can't be fired? It depends what culture you're dealing with.
Sure.
But some cultures are louder. Puerto Ricans, they'll go, oh, he's going to get fired, or he won't ever get fired because he's married to her. That kind of thing. But then if you're like the Caucasian in Middle America, you'll go, it's more passive-aggressive. It's like, so do not address somebody not showing up to the meeting who's you're married to or dating or your partner. Don't do that in front of everybody else. Now, other rules, I put a link to it on the show notes. I have a downloadable. You can download this, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's actually an agenda that you can download. But you got to start the meeting on time. Got to start the meeting on time. It has to be on time. So much so is this important that Ben Horowitz, who is the founder of the most successful venture capital fund in the world, and he also started Opsware, which he sold for $1.6 billion. How much do you think he fines people for being late?
I don't know.
What do you think?
$100 for being late.
It's $10 a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So let me explain this to you.
$100.
So if you're late by 30 minutes, it's $300.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And he's been doing that forever. And I'll put a link on the show notes so you guys can see the Business Insider article about it. But he says that there's no bigger sign of disrespect for anybody than being late. And I agree with that. And I know there's a lot of husband and wives listening, so I'm not even going to go there. I'm just saying, just please talk to your spouse privately if that's an issue. Pastors who I've worked with for years tell me nothing's more frustrating than when their key people show up late to service. Mm-hmm. Worked with one guy years ago. His associate pastor, who's on stage, would always roll up 10 minutes into the service. Into the service, just walking up on stage.
That's not acceptable.
Yeah.
His youth pastor actually used to not be there. All the kids were there, and his youth pastor would usually show up after the kids got there. True story. Yeah. So I have found in the smaller the business, the smaller attention to detail. It's like the smaller the business, the less intense they are about being on time. But having shadowed, the founder of Hobby Lobby or the CFO of Helmerich and Payne or big companies, billion-dollar companies,
all right,
I can tell you they start on time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I imagine they end on time too.
True. So always start your meeting with good news. This will bring your team together and will help to adjust the emotional state of the people in the room. But start on time. For the first 5 minutes, start on time. Then you transition into the sort of the recap of what we need to talk about, and that's 15 minutes. And in that, you want to go over the scorecard, review the rocks, the things you have to do every week, those repeatable things like checklists, and go over customer headlines or employee headlines, like who quit, who canceled, who's mad, who's happy, what's a key account we could land today, that kind of thing. Then for the next 5 minutes, we review our to-do list of what needs to be done.
Right.
And then we spend the majority of the meeting now identifying, discussing, and solving the problems. You identify the problems. That's why you're there all at one time. Right. You're all there at one time so we can all identify the problem, identify the real issue, discuss how to solve it, and assign action items. And then we want to wrap up the meeting by knowing who knows what to do. So again, I'm walking you through kind of step 1 through 6. Step 1, build rapport, go over the wins. Just take 5 minutes on that. Step 2, go over what needs to be covered with a printed agenda. Print your agenda. Jason, what would happen to our meetings if Julia did not go through? We have a big screen, so everyone's looking at the screen. No one can bring their cell phone in the meeting. No one can bring their smartphone in the meeting. Nobody can be laptopping in the meeting. What would happen if she did not methodically go over that agenda?
It would be chaos. We would have no structure, and we could not get all of that done in an hour.
True. So then we go over the agenda. So we start step number 1 with the rapport and the wins. Step 2, we go over the printed agenda. We go say, this is what we need to cover. Does anybody else here have something that you need to cover today? Then we spend the majority of the time identifying, solving, discussing the problems. And once we go ahead and assign action items, We want to deliver with every benefit, explain to people why they need to do it. All right? Then we call them to action, step 4. Then somebody's going to not know what you're talking about, and you have to ask, does everybody know what we're doing here? And when they say no, then you answer their questions. You don't judge them. A lot of bosses, Jason, I've seen bosses attack employees for asking questions. Yep. And in our coaches meeting, who asks the most questions?
That would be Mr. Sean Lohman.
And it's a delicate balance with Sean Lohman.
He is the question king. I love
Can
that
you
guy.
paraphrase what I've said to Sean in our meeting about his questions?
Wait, hold on. Sean.
He's imitating me.
You're a beautiful man. That's one of my favorite ones, but I'm trying to think of...
this is what I'll say to Sean a lot. I go, Sean, that is a good question, and I'm going to highlight that green, which means I'm coming back to it. And I love your questions, but I hate your questions. I love, because some good learning happens when you ask questions, but man, you got a lot of questions today. Man, and he does that. And
loading up.
Yeah, one of my favorite responses is, I don't mean to crush your hope before 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's when you go into like one of those questions like, should I have asked that early?
So I'll ask Sean, Sean, I love you. I love America. I love strong roads and strong kids and strong families, but I am not going to do that. Because Sean asks straight questions. He'll be like, hey, how come we can't update our print piece or something? And I'm like, well, highlight that green. We'll come back to it. But he asks the most questions, and there's some great learning. But we can, as an entrepreneur who's very bullish and wants to get stuff done, you could be annoyed by people that ask good questions, right? And then we do the call to action. As we wrap up the meeting, we review who needs to get it done, when does it need to be done, and what needs to be done. And if you want a great book, you can read about this. It's called Traction by Gino Wickman. Traction by Gino Wickman. And I'll put a link to it on the show notes so everybody can check it out. And Gino Wickman is the founder of the book called Traction, a coaching program called Traction. It's many people that I know who have major companies love his book Traction. I know the Koloff Fitness people use his system, but I just want to make sure we get this before I have Dr. Breck and Clint chime in here. You got to print the agenda. You got to print the agenda, and you got to start on time.
Yes.
And you got to start on time, and you got to print the agenda. And I know that the vast majority of people listening right now, you're not printing the agenda, and you're not starting on time. And I know this because I used to go and shadow in businesses, and people would say, can I shadow? I said, yeah, make sure you have a printed agenda and you start on time. And I don't know a percentage, but I would say every meeting for every client except for maybe 1 or 2 started late. There was no agenda. And the boss ends up arguing with his staff and ends up taking majority votes on things. Like he'll say, how many of you want to update the playlist? This is dysfunction. And then someone's like, you'll have like 9 employees in your office. Let's say you have 9 employees. You go, so how many of you guys want to update the playlist? And then they go, I want to update it. We all want to update it. And you go, well, who's going to do it? And they go, well, we'll do it. So Sarah and Carl, you're doing it? Yeah, we'll do it. So then Carl says, I'll do it with Sarah. We'll work together. We'll get this done. And then the next meeting, you show up, and the playlist isn't updated, and it becomes the new idea of the week, and the idea never gets done, and it becomes sarcastic, and then people start showing up late for the meeting, and then they start skipping the meeting, and then when you do have a meeting, it comes over like it feels like a beating because it's a weird form of cognitive dissonance that's going on because we basically are getting together every week to make a list of things we're not going to do.
Right.
I mean, that's what we're doing. So, Clint, what is your take on leading a meeting and the best way to do it as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, I love all those tips you just shared, and those are things that I've learned that work really well also. And then a couple things I was going to add. They mentioned asking about some books to read. Traction, it's a great one. One that I got a lot out of was just a really simple read was Tribes, Seth Godin, Tribes. And that talked a lot about that people want to be led, actually. That's proven, and also that
True.
You need to. You can become a leader. Some people think, just leaders are just people that are born with great, strong personalities.
Not true.
Anyone can become a great leader if they work at it. And then on another gear is something that's helped me a lot is when you go into a meeting, you mentioned it as having energy. So, like, I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins, and so I recommend reading some of his books. It's more on mindset, and he calls getting into peak state.
Quick time out. I want to make sure the listeners out there, because if you're listening to this show, I have ripped Mr. Robbins, and I'll explain to you real quick. I want to make sure we get this idea. Tony Robbins, what he teaches about energy and mindset is awesome, and I would say, yes, buy it, bottle it, do it. What I find, and I'm not trying to steal any thunder away from your, because I agree with what you're saying. I just want to make sure I rightly divide this. I see a lot of people who've been to like 6 Tony Robbins conferences, and they're on divorce number 2, they're on bankruptcy number 3 or 2, and they are sufficiently motivated, but they do not know how to make a pro forma.
Right.
They do not know how to make their website canonically compliant. They do not know how to make a marketing video.
The brass tacks is missing.
Right. They don't know how to make a checklist. And so where Tony Robbins ends, that's where I start.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure you get it. Our show is for people who are already sufficiently motivated.
Pragmatic, practical, put your hands to the plow.
But if you're not motivated, Tony Robbins is a great place to start. And please continue, because what he teaches about energy is powerful.
Yeah. So Tony Robbins, like a lot of people just kind of listen to his stuff on the outside. They think he's a motivator, but if you really, I've been studying Tony Robbins very, very deep. So he very much does get into mindset and changing of state and mind. But most people just don't get that far into his work. They just think rah, and he is a good, he knows how to pump people up. But the biggest thing is power and certainty is what I was getting to. Like I know for me, when I used to have my meetings when I was younger, especially my employees were older than I was, I would go into a meeting and I'd be kind of nervous, and I was just kind of like, weak. And if you go and lead a meeting from a weak position, you're not going to control the room. You're not going to control the frame. Your employees can notice that. So it's getting into a positive mindset of power and certainty. And what the tips that you mentioned are great, going into the meeting with an agenda and what you're going to talk about, and having power and being a great leader and speaker. And that takes practice and preparation.
I would say this, that preparation creates luck. So I actually view the word, whenever someone says the word luck, I always replace it with preparation. So when someone says, oh man, Oprah's lucky, I go, Oprah is well prepared. I agree.
Yes.
Well prepared. They say Michael Jordan's so lucky. I go, you're so right. Michael Jordan is so prepared. They go, dude, it must be nice to be LeBron James. He's so lucky. I'm like, he is so prepared. You're correct. Yeah. Because most people, it's easy just to say lucky.
Sure, because that takes it out of your hands.
Right. Breck, talk about meetings, how you've got it wrong in the past, how we could get it right in the future. Give us your tips on leading a meeting.
Yeah, I've started meetings late. I've not had an agenda. I've done all these things wrong before. And so I think there's a few things that you can do. One is cut out unnecessary meetings. And so, having like committees to create committees to never get anything done just demotivates everyone, because they know this is going to lead nowhere, and we're going to have another meeting about nothing to lead nowhere. And so cut out any unnecessary meetings. But then also, I kind of like what you said, or, when you were talking about sometimes there's that vote. We do a lot of ideas and solution finding by committee, like the whole group, the team together will create some ideas and some solutions to problems. But ultimately, I make decisions as the leader of the business. And so, the decision making is not done by consensus. It's not done by everyone. You have to take ownership if you're the owner. And so you can have great people that come up with great ideas that are outside of your own thinking, and I think that's wonderful. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to take the ownership of it and be willing to stand by your own decisions. And so you're not doing those things by committee.
What do you call an employee who is perpetually unhappy, and you're leading the meetings properly? You're doing everything right.
Yeah.
And you're being a good boss, and everybody else in your office is happy. But you got that one person who isn't happy. What's the adjective that you would use to describe an employee like that, Dr. Breck?
Cancerous? Is that a
cancerous?
Good,
okay,
is that a good adjective?
Yeah. And anything in cancer, if you allow it to spread, it will.
Yep.
A weed, if you allow it to go unpulled, it spreads. And Jason, you have a great client. I won't mention the name of his company, but he has a disgruntled employee.
Yeah.
Does he not?
He does.
Tell us the situation so the listeners can know the situation, but we will not mention any details about his company, because I'm going to give him some real and raw answers to his question right now. And this right here is going to feel really dark.
Okay.
Someone's going to feel like this is like a bad show. This is going to take us to a really bad place. Right. So I'm going to cue up my dark kind of.
So stick with us so you get past this point.
Okay, so Jason, tell me the situation here.
Yeah, so he's got kind of an Eeyore in his department where this person is very negative and they're very sluggish, and they're in a high-ranking position and don't execute the job. So it means key performance indicators aren't getting hit. They are horrible for the overall culture.
They're pissing off customers and fellow coworkers.
Oh, absolutely. And they're also being very deceitful with fellow coworkers, which is causing this big unrest. So
you ever had that happen, Breck?
He's wanting to get them out as soon as possible.
You ever had this happen before, Clint?
I have, yes.
So I'm going to walk you through how to solve this problem in 90 seconds. Step 1, install video cameras in your office. and make sure that everyone knows they're up. Just like Target, just like Walmart, just like Quick Trip, put the cameras in. Make sure everybody knows that they're installed. Use Nest.com. I even like to have a reference monitor so they can see what you can see. But make sure that they know they're being recorded for quality assurance, for safety, for people stealing people's lunch, that kind of thing. 2, just do what you normally do. Do what you normally do. Because this employee, Jason, when he tried to call them on their jackassery, what did they threaten him with?
ADA, baby.
What?
The American Disability Association.
So they threatened to come after him, and saying that they're gonna go to the American Disabilities Association and sue him for wrongful termination.
Exactly.
Because they're disabled.
Yep.
That's what the employees actually said to him. Now this happens all the time. So step 1, you put in those cameras. Step 2, you do what you normally do. Step 3, you document the moments of jackassery, but never reference the video footage. You've already told them the cameras are up. Document them all, and every time it happens, download the clip. Download the clip. Then have one person present when you meet the person. Have cameras up in that room and say, hey, I have video footage of you over the past 3 weeks that I'm going to upload to YouTube and label as your name, called Employees Behaving Badly.
Busted.
And it's going to go viral. I'm going to spend a lot of money promoting the video, and you are going to be known all over the internet as the world's worst employee, or you're going to leave and not sue me, and then have them sign a release document. And I'm telling you, if you do not do that, you talk about playing hardball. I had an employee years ago at Elephant in the Room who did the same crap. I caught her on camera pretending to fall. No, seriously, pretending to fall. And when you have an employee that pretends to fall on camera, Breck, you're a chiropractor. What kind of claim do they typically? I'm sure you've seen somebody trying to commit insurance fraud that comes to your chiropractic center.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, we make it very clear that our goal is to get you whole to the point that you were at the accident and nothing more.
But have you ever just straight up busted somebody?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have a test we call malingering test. And so what that means is that someone is, if we're doing a test and they're not actually making an effort on that test, we can actually tell. And so, there's only so many things you can say that match up with the symptoms. But then when the tests are being done and you're like, oh, I can't lift my leg, but then you can feel that there's no effort behind them trying, and it shouldn't, or you have them do a test that shouldn't exacerbate this condition whatsoever, and like, oh, I can't, it hurts. And it's like, no, this is not true. So you're making it up.
So you've seen people make it up before?
Oh, absolutely.
So Elephant in the Room, what I did is I actually went out there. I pulled the footage of the person. I don't think they recognized that we had the footage of it. And so I just pulled them aside with another employee present, and I said, hey, here's the deal. I know that you're trying to screw us right now because I've seen the video footage of you actually faking a fall.
Had they already submitted a work comp claim?
No, they came to me and said that they are going to submit a workman's comp claim because they got injured. And I said to them, no, you're not. And they said, yeah, I am. I fell. I hurt myself. And I said, well, I got video footage of you faking a fall. I've got a video footage of you faking a fall. You didn't actually fall, and I've got video footage of it, and it's not going to go good for you.
No, that's insurance fraud.
It is
that's
insurance.
Bad.
Yeah, and then that's the thing where you might go to jail for that kind of thing, buddy.
That's a felony.
So I pointed out to them, like, that is not something you're going to do. But you got to play hardball. And, Jason, I think people don't want to play hardball. I think people don't want to ever do these things because they don't want to, like...
They don't want to work.
I think people don't want to seem mean.
Yeah.
I think half the people who heard this show right now are going, dude, that's terrible. I mean, don't you think the vast majority of people, not our longtime listeners, but new listeners might go, that you're terrible.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the biggest problem I've learned with helping my clients who are trying to be better managers is they want so much to be liked by their employees. They want the constant approval and they want to be buddies. Well, then, of course, when that happens, you get a septic employee like this who's going to completely infect your entire business.
It's going to happen, dude. I'm just telling you, if you're out there today and you feel like you're stuck with a toxic employee, that is the tip. That's the moves, that's the step, and that's how you fire that person, and that's how you deal with it. So even if you do all the things we told you and you go in with a great emotional state and you follow these 6 steps of start with report 1, 2, build the needs, establish the printed agenda, basically the syllabus, 3, go over what needs to be done, 4, decide who needs to do it. 5, answer any questions. And 6, repeat what needs to be done. Even if you do all those steps, if you have a toxic employee who rolls their eyes in the meetings, who's yawning in the meetings, who's negative, it ruins the whole atmosphere. And get them out of your office as soon as possible. And without any further ado, we like to end each and every show with a boom. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
The number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year. We are Jared and Jennifer Johnson. We own Platinum Pest and Lawn and are located in Owasso, Oklahoma. And we have been working with Thrive for business coaching for almost a year now.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to share some wins with you guys that we've had by working with Thrive. First of all, we're on the top page of Google now. Okay. I just want to let you know what type of accomplishment this is. Our competition, Orkin, Terminex, they're both $1.3 billion companies. They both have 2,000 to 3,000 pages of content attached to their website. So to basically go from virtually non-existent on Google to up on the top page is really saying something. But that's come by being diligent to the systems that Thrive has, by being consistent and diligent on doing podcasts and staying on top of those podcasts to really help with getting up on with their listing and ranking there with Google.
And also we've been trying to get Google reviews, asking our customers for reviews. And now we're the highest rated and most reviewed pest and lawn company in the Tulsa area. And that's really helped with our conversion rate. And the number of new customers that we've had is up 411% over last year.
Wait, say that again. How much are we up?
411%.
Okay, so 411% we're up with our new customers. Amazing.
Right. So not only do we have more customers calling in, we're able to close those deals at a much higher rate than we were before. Right now, our closing rate is about 85%, and that's largely due to, first of all, like our Google reviews that we've gotten people really see that our customers are happy, but also we have a script that we follow. And so when customers call in, they get all the information that they need. That script has been refined time and time again. It wasn't a one and done deal. It was a system that we followed with Thrive in the refining process, and that has obviously the 411% shows that system works.
Yeah. So here's a big one for you. So last week alone, our booking percentage was 91%. We actually booked more deals, more new customers last year than we did the first 5 months. Or I'm sorry, we booked more deals last week than we did the first 5 months of last year from before we worked with Thrive. So again, we booked more deals last week than the first 5 months of last year. And it's incredible. But the reason why we have that success is by implementing the systems that Thrive has taught us and helped us out with.
Some of those systems that we've implemented are group interviews. That way we've really been able to come up with a really great team. We've created and implemented checklists. That way everything gets done and it gets done right. It creates accountability. We're able to make sure that everything gets done properly, both out in the field and also in our office. And also doing the podcast, like Jared had mentioned, that has really, really contributed to our success. But that, like I said, the diligence and consistency in doing those and that system has really, really been a big blessing in our lives. And also, it's really shown that we've gotten the success from following those systems.
Yeah. So before working with Thrive, we were basically stuck. Really no new growth with our business. And we were in a rut and we didn't know.
The last 3 years, our customer base had pretty much stayed the same. We weren't shrinking, but we weren't really growing either.
Yeah, and so we didn't really know where to go, what to do, how to get out of this rut that we're in. But Thrive helped us with that. They implemented those systems. They taught us those systems. They taught us the knowledge that we needed in order to succeed. Now it's been a grind. Absolutely, it's been a grind this last year. But we're getting those fruits from that hard work and the diligent effort that we're able to put into it. So again, we were in a rut. Thrive helped us get out of that rut. And if you're thinking about working with Thrive, quit thinking about it and just do it. Do the action, and you'll get the results. It will take hard work and discipline, but that's what it's going to take in order to really succeed. So we just want to give a big shout out to Thrive, a big thank you out there to Thrive. We wouldn't be where we're at now without their help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Moore. I'm a pediatric dentist. Through our new digital marketing plan, we have seen a marked increase in the number of new patients that we're seeing every month, year over year. One month, for example, we went from 110 new patients the previous year to over 180 new patients in the same month. And overall, our average is running about 40 to 42% increase month over month, year over year. The group of people required to implement our new digital marketing plan is immense, starting with a business coach, videographers, photographers, web designers. Back when I graduated dental school in 1985, nobody advertised. The only marketing that was ethically allowed in everybody's eyes was mouth-to-mouth marketing. By choosing to use the services, you're choosing to use a proven turnkey marketing and coaching system that will grow your practice and get you the results that you're looking for. I went to the University of Oklahoma College of Dentistry, graduated in 1983, and then I did my pediatric dental residency at Baylor College of Dentistry from 1983 to 1985.
Hello, my name is Charles Colaw with Colaw Fitness. Today I want to tell you a little bit about Clay Clark and how I know Clay Clark. Clay Clark has been my business coach since 2017. He's helped us grow from 2 locations to now 6 locations. We're planning to do 7 locations in 7 years and then franchise. And Clay has done a great job of helping us navigate anything that has to do with like running the business, building the systems, the checklists, the workflows, the audits, how to navigate lease agreements, how to buy property, how to work with brokers and builders. This guy is just amazing. He's this kind of guy has worked in every single industry. He's written books with like Lee Crockrell, head of Disney, with the 40,000 cast members. He's friends with like Mike Lindell. He does Reawaken America tours where he does these tours all across the country where 10,000 or more people show up to some of these tours. On the day-to-day, he does anywhere from about 160 companies. He's at the top. He has a team of business coaches, videographers, and graphic designers and web developers, and they run 160 companies every single week. So think of this guy with a team of business coaches running 160 companies. So in the weekly, he's running 160 companies. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's doing Reawaken America tours. Every 6 to 8 weeks, he's also doing business conferences where 200 people show up, and he teaches people a 13-step proven system that he's done and worked with billionaires, helping them grow their companies. So I've seen guys from startups go from startup to being multimillionaires, teaching people how to get time freedom and financial freedom through the system. Critical thinking, document creation, putting it into organizing everything in their head to building into a franchisable, scalable business. Like one of his businesses has like 500 franchises. That's just one of the companies or brands that he works with. So amazing guy, Elon Musk kind of like smart guy. He kind of comes off sometimes as socially awkward, but he's so brilliant and he's taught me so much. When I say that, like Clay is like, he doesn't care what people think when you're talking to him. He cares about where you're going in your life and where he can get you to go. And that's what I like most about him. He's like a good coach. A coach isn't just making you feel good all the time. A coach is actually helping you get to the best you. And Clay has been an amazing business coach. Through the course of that, we became friends. I was really most impressed with him is when I was shadowing him one time. We went into a business deal and listened to it. I got to shadow and listen to it. And when we walked out, I knew that he could make millions on the deal. And they were super excited about working with him. And he told me, he's like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to turn it down because he knew it was going to harm the common good of people in the long run. And the guy's integrity just really wowed me. It brought tears to my eyes to see that this guy, his highest desire was to do what's right. And anyways, just an amazing man. So anyways, impacted me a lot. He's helped navigate anytime I've got nervous or worried about how to run the company or, navigating competition and an economy that's like, I remember we got closed down for 3 months. He helped us navigate on how to stay open, how to get back open, how to just survive through all the COVID shutdowns, lockdowns.
I'm Rachel with Tip Top Canine, and we just want to give a huge thank you to Clay and Vanessa Clark.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan with Tip Top Canine. Just want to say a big thank you to Thrive 15. Thank you to Make Your Life Epic. We love you guys, we appreciate you, and really just appreciate how far you've taken us.
This is our old house, right? This is where we used to live a few years ago. This is our old neighborhood. See? It's nice, right?
So this is my old van and our old school marketing, and this is our old team. And by team, I mean it's me and another guy.
This is our new house.
with our new neighborhood.
This is our new van with our new marketing, and this is our new team. We went from 4 to 14, and I took this beautiful photo. We worked with several different business coaches in the past, and they were all about helping Ryan sell better and just teaching sales, which is awesome, but Ryan is a really great salesman. So we didn't need that. We needed somebody to help us get everything that was in his head out into systems, into manuals and scripts, and actually build a team. So now that we have systems in place, we've gone from 1 to 10 locations in only a year.
In October 2016, we grossed 13 grand for the whole month. Right now it's 2018, the month of October. It's only the 22nd. We've already grossed a little over 50 grand for the whole month, and we still have time to go. We're just thankful for you, thankful for Thrive and your mentorship, and we're really thankful that you guys have helped us to grow a business that we run now instead of the business running us. Just thank you times 1,000.
The Thrive Time Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
Hey, I'm Ryan Wimpy with Tip Top Canine, and I'm the founder.
I'm Rachel Wimpy, and I am a co-founder.
So we've been running Tip Top for about the last 14 years, franchising for the last 3-4 years. So someone that'd be a good fit for Tip Top loves dogs, they're high energy, they want to be able to own their own job, but they don't want to worry about, that high failure rate. They want to do that like bowling with bumper lanes.
So you give us a call, reach out to us, we'll call you, and then we'll send you an FDD, look over that, read it, fall asleep to it, it's very boring, and then we'll book a discovery day, and you come and you can spend a day or two with us, make sure that you actually like it, make sure training dogs is something that you want to do.
So an FDD is a franchise disclosure document. It's a federally regulated document that goes into all the nitty-gritty details of what the franchise agreement entails.
So who would be a good fit to buy a Tip Top Canine would be somebody who loves dogs, who wants to work with dogs all day as their profession. You'll make a lot of money, you'll have a lot of fun, it's very rewarding. And who would not be a good fit is a cat person.
So the upfront cost for Tip Top is $43,000. And a lot of people say they're generating doctor money, but on our disclosure, the numbers are anywhere from over $1 million a year in dog training, what our Oklahoma City location did last year, to 25, 35 grand a month.
To train and get trained by us for Tip Top Canine, to run your own Tip Top Canine, you would be with us for 6 weeks here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So we've been married for 7 years.
8 years.
8 years. So if you're watching this video, you're like, hey, maybe I want to be a dog trainer. Hey, that one sounds super amazing. Go to our website, tiptopcanine.com, click on the yellow franchising tab, fill out the form, and Rachel and I will give you a call. Our Oklahoma City location last year, they did over $1 million. He's been running that shop for 3 years. Before, he was a youth pastor with 0 sales experience, 0 dog training experience before he ever met with us.
So just call us, come spend a day with us, spend a couple days with us, make sure you like training dogs, and own your own business.
Well, the biggest reason to buy a Tip Top Canine is so you own your own job and you own your own future, and you don't hate your life. You get an enjoyable job that brings a lot of income but is really rewarding.
My name is Seth Flint, and I had originally heard about Tip Top Canine through my old pastors who I worked for. They trained their Great Pyrenees with Ryan and Tip Top Canine. They did a phenomenal job and became really good friends with Ryan and Rachel. I was working at a local church, and it was a great experience. I ended up leaving there and working with Ryan and Tip Top Canine. The biggest thing that I really enjoy about being self-employed is that I can create my own schedule. I have the ability to spend more time with my family, my wife and my daughter. So my very favorite thing about training dogs with Tip Top Canine is that I get to work with the people. Obviously, I love working with dogs, but it's just so rewarding to be able to train a dog that had serious issues, whether it's behavioral or whatever, and seeing a transformation, taking that dog home, and mom and dad are literally in tears because of how happy they are with the training. If somebody is interested, I'd say don't hesitate. Make sure you like dogs. Make sure that you enjoy working with people because we're not just dog trainers. We are customer service people that help dogs, and so definitely don't hesitate. Just come in and ask questions. Ask all the questions you have.